You likely know that thing that is holding you back or holding you back from encouraging teachers to talk about current events in the classroom. Whatever that thing is, like what if this happens, is a big question that kind of goes through our mind and might make us press pause on doing the thing. So I want to talk through all the things that possibly could happen that you might be afraid of, or you might be like, I'm not sure how to respond to this. And I want to go through how you would not only respond, but honestly, preventatively act to make sure that this is not this huge deal. And we can go ahead and have generative conversations about current events in our schools and classrooms. So let's get to it. If untrue statements come up, that means students are talking about something and all of a sudden, or adults are talking about something, all of a sudden an untrue statement, a complete factual inaccuracy is shared, then what do? Well, we make time. We go ahead and add in a buffer lesson if it's a class or if it's a staff meeting. We make time in the next staff meeting to address the untrue statements, particularly if it's said right before the end of the meeting and or the class and the bell rings and we need to go. Otherwise, we can unpack it in the actual, like when it was said, but absolutely make time to debrief. I like to do like a kind of like a post-presidential debate fact checkers lesson where it's like, this statement was true or false. And actually have students, if you're in a classroom, go through and dig into the sources. Great kind of organic lesson on source bias. What if harm is done? What if someone says something that is harmful? It hurts someone else or a group of people. What do? We need to restore or repair that harm. I like restorative circles. There's a bunch of templates online that you can Google and kind of look at these. I've written blog posts about this, but thinking about how do we actually have the conversation? And if it's done in the whole class or the whole staff, that we have this conversation with the whole group. Yes, you can do it one-to-one if it was one specific person saying something that was harming just one specific person, but often it is harming the whole dynamic of the group. Everyone bears witness to the harm. Others might feel harmed even if something wasn't directed at them. Restorative circles are my response to that. Now, what if someone discloses something? I've had many students say that the atmosphere of a circle discussion that we've had in class was just so welcoming and supportive, and they felt like they could share something that maybe not even was related to the topic at hand, but they wanted to share it. And it was the first time they felt safe enough to do so. So they disclosed something. I would say, first off, know what you're mandated to report prior to going into something like this. Now, this is specific to students, not so much staff, but you want to also equip your staff to be able to do this with students. And I think front load the information. Tell students up front, regardless of what you're talking about. You have to report anything that's said in the discussion that's about harm to the self or others. That is part of your job. If people still want to tell you, then they know all the information up front and they don't feel like you violated some sort of agreement with them. What if you receive a caregiver call? A family member comes in. Again, this is very student facing, but you want to equip your staff as a leader. You want to make sure they feel good about this. And you also want to do some preventative things to kind of get in front of this and also respond to this. So I would invite caregivers into the discussion as much as possible. Discussions can be with you as the leader. It could be with teachers. It could be in the class. I've literally invited family members to come into the class with us for the discussions. Or it could be in caregiver-specific spaces like a PTA or PTO. Front loading, I think, is huge here. So do things up front like share unit newsletters where you're saying we're talking about this topic or text or driving question. We're working on this project for the duration of the unit for the next couple months, whatever. Share that with them up front. Invite questions in advance. Perhaps they even have resources that they would, share with you. So it's not just about addressing the families that might have an issue with what you're talking about, but maybe there are some who are actually experts in this. They have expertise in or experience that they want to share as part of the unit or discussion, and you can invite that as well. So it's a true partnership. We're kind of co-planning together. Also front load kind of that communication and invite teachers to front load that communication with you as the principal or the leader in whatever role you have, and really make sure that they feel comfortable asking for a buffer and that you are clear in the language you're going to share with caregivers and the support you're going to give to teachers and the school community. What are the values and the agreements that you stand by as an educational community? And what's kind of the conversation you're going to have with the family? Make sure teachers know what you're going to say in that role and that they can absolutely come to you before, after, during, whenever a conflict may be going on. Inviting conversations about current events or politics or anything like that can be scary. It is also really, really helpful for students to be able to navigate those conversations. And so it's critical we build up the skills to be able to do that. hopefully this video has helped in thinking about what are those things that could go wrong, naming those potential fears, and also thinking about how we respond and how we preemptively act to enable us to have a stronger partnership with family members and with students, and to really make sure that our spaces are generative conversational spaces, and that students have as much perceived safety as possible in those classrooms and the schools at large. This goes for staff as well, because the best thing we can do to equip staff is to help them prepare to have conversations like this. So your kind of free resource that I'm adding in the description, grab this link. You're going to get one resource a month. These are staff agendas that build on each other. Sorry, one resource a week for a month. These are agendas that build on each other, so you have staff kind of practice. How do we develop first that sense of belonging and that perceived safety as much as possible? How do we build on that to be able to have a discussion protocol among staff? And then how do we eventually get to the place where we're fluently and confidently talking about current events and politics as a staff so that we're better equipped to do this with students? Let me know how it goes. I cannot wait to hear.